Hey carnivores, thanks for joining me on this Sunday evening. This is day 448 for me, which equals to 64 weeks on the carnivore diet. And I wanted to go over my top ways to stick with your plan. You know, I know that my weight loss hasn't been the greatest, you know, maybe this hasn't gone as perfectly for me as it has for some people. But one thing I have accomplished for the last 14, almost 15 months is I've stayed on plan. So as our year is coming to a close, I thought that's something that I could share with you that might be of some assistance. Before we get started, I have a couple of shout outs that I want to do. I've mentioned before that I wanted to highlight some smaller channels that I enjoy watching because, you know, YouTube doesn't recommend them as often to a wider audience when people are just getting started out and don't have as many subscribers. So I think this is a good way for us to get to meet be introduced to other carnivore channels. The more stories we can hear, I believe, the better it is. And I invite you again, if you have a small channel, or you have a favorite one, you know, mention it down in the comments and I can shout it out in another video. But this one, I actually have two that I've been watching for a while. One of them is Annabelle the Happy Carnivore. Maybe. Well, yeah, I'll put it in the link below. And then the other is Resting Witch Face. She's also great fun to watch and just has some really interesting insights about the carnivore way of eating and just life in general. And I enjoy watching both of those. I'll put the link to both of those channels in the show notes below. So please check them out if you're looking for some new carnivore channels to watch. And well, before I get started, I'll sort of give an update. I've lost a total, while I've been on the carnivore diet, about 84 pounds in 14 months and something. Overall, it's been about 136 pounds through, you know, keto and other trying, you know, struggling to lose weight. Getting off of some medicine that didn't agree with me was one of the things I did, and then trying as much, you know, off and on, I guess, to be low carb because of my blood sugar issues. So altogether I've lost 136 pounds at least. You know, that's just what I weighed. That was just the highest that I measured, so I could have weighed more than that. I don't know. At the time, I weighed over 400 pounds and I didn't have a scale at home that would measure that. So I just happened to measure myself while I was going to get an x-ray at a doctor's office one time. So that's how I knew what my weight was. But yeah, so I'm down about 136 pounds from that. So finally under 300 pounds for the first time in a while. And I first reached this a few months ago, but my weight goes up and down a lot. It's just been sort of really a slow slope downwards, but I've been under 300 for about a week now, so I'm counting it. So there you go. Now we'll get to this list I have, and I don't have my glasses on because I don't like the glare they make, but I can't see what's going on in front of me at all because my vision's still pretty bad. And the first one I'll say is, and this comes up in the carnivore space all the time, which is examine your why. Don't just know it. Think about it and mine is, I don't want to continue to live my life like it was before. And I'm actually traumatized whenever I think about the possibility of going off plan. It scares me. I mean, the pain was so bad, the mental anguish was so bad, that those things really keep me on track. I remember one night, and this was several years ago, probably when I was near my heaviest weight, but I was in the bed one night, middle of the night, and started having pain, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And instead of getting up and doing anything about it, I fluffed up my pillow, got comfy under the cover, and I just said, well, I hope it's not too painful. And then I went back to sleep. Obviously, I woke up, and I don't know what was causing the pain, but I mean, that's the situation I was in. I really just didn't care. And so we'll move on to the next one. Know your triggers. So those are things that I avoid because, like dairy, for instance. Some people can have dairy and it's fine for them, but I do not have sober behavior around dairy. I could eat 2 cups of shredded cheese or whole, 8-ounce block, easy. I could drink, probably a cup of heavy cream, that kind of stuff. So I just stay away from it. And those are things that you need to know. Just keep those things in mind as you're planning your meal plan. Know what's going to cause you a problem. And avoid that stuff. Just decide you're not going to have it. The next thing, and this will be controversial, and all of these things that I'm mentioning are just what's worked for me. Obviously, you may have different things that work for you. But another one is don't try to recreate old favorites, because that never worked for me. I was doing that when I was keto and low carb. Like I would try to make mug cakes and things, and it was never enough. I was always like, how can I make this sweeter? How can I make it more? I need to make 2 servings of this at one time. It was losing battle with all of that. So for me personally, it's like, don't try to do it. Just eat meat. Or whatever is on your plan that doesn't cause you to have those kind of problems. And this next one, I don't even know what number I'm on, is don't kid yourself. So many times, every time up until now, there was a point where I said, oh, I can just have one of these and it won't hurt me. And it always ruined everything. I have lost weight so many times and always gained it all back plus some. When I first started dieting, I probably weighed less than 130 pounds, and it was always it would just always come back and bring some more back with it. And I've got to stay away from that. That goes back to my why, being so traumatized by thinking what could happen if I give in just a little bit. So, at least 3 or 4 major carnivore influencers that I've been watching over the past several months, I've seen are struggling. They've been off plan a few times and are having trouble getting back on. And I'm not knocking them for that. Even when they're struggling, they're still teaching. And I respect them very much. But a few, in every single case, 2 or 3 months before they're posting about having this struggle, they were posting about, I'm going to go out with my family and celebrate or whatever. I'm going to just have this thing here and it's fine. It's not causing me any trouble at all. And then a couple of months later, they're posting that they're off the rails and struggling to get back on. And that's just, I think that's caused by a multitude of factors. Honestly, I think it's a lot got to do with the gut microbiome being dysregulated. When you eat the things, the bugs in there that you feed are gonna survive, and they all want to live just like we do. And I think once you reintroduce those bad bugs or start feeding them so that they can kind of take over and get a foothold in your system, will cause you to start eating things you don't want, and also, you know, the other addictive aspects. So yeah, don't kid yourself. You don't tell yourself that just this once will be fine, or it's okay, I can eat with my family and just enjoy this little thing and there won't be any, you know, what they say is, it didn't bother me at all, didn't cause any trouble. But eventually it does. It catches up with you in most cases. And again, always only talking about myself and what I've seen. And so those other YouTube influencers they tell good stories about it, and I encourage you to go find it. Just you know, let them be a cautionary tale for what you should and shouldn't be doing. And again, I know I'm looking all over the place because I can't see what I'm looking at, but I can't deal with that glare on my glasses. So this is the final one, and the one that's the most important to me, or the one that has the most significant impact on my behavior. And I titled it, Know Your Identity. And that's something that I've read about in the Tiny Habits book, or Atomic Habits, one of those, is to identify what you are or what you want to be, and you know, do behaviors that confirm what you are. And that is basically how I've done this whole thing. It's just by saying, I'm a carnivore. I don't eat that. You know, I live in a place where there are non-carnivores living. So there's all kinds of food here all the time. And it's not mine. I don't eat that. I'm a carnivore. I don't eat that. And I have just solidified this identity for myself. And I don't want to say any of this to say that I'm infallible. I know that at any time I could falter, and that's why it's, you know, so important to me to follow these tips that I have, because I know just it's a very delicate hold that I have over anything. But so far, just by reminding myself whenever I need to, that I don't have that. I'm a carnivore. Carnivores don't eat that. I don't eat that. That's been enough for me to pass up on anything. You know, bowls of candy that were here during Halloween, cakes, cookies, chips, French fries, just anything. There's pasta, potatoes, all of that stuff. And I don't crave it. Thank goodness. Thank Carnivore that I'm not craving anything. I'm not just sitting around, oh my God, I wish I could have that. I wish I could have that. I need this, you know. I don't feel that at all, because I have carnivore food freedom. But habit, you know, 50 years of eating that kind of stuff, it just is so easy to just grab a handful of it and eat it without thinking, because you know, you just never would have had to concern yourself with that before. So every time I walk past it and I think about eating it, I'll just say, no, I don't eat that. I'm a carnivore. And so far, it's been working for me. So those are my tips. And I hope that if you're struggling that you find this helpful. I hope you found some of this helpful. And if you would, comment, like, and subscribe, because that really helps get the word out. And that's the most important thing. I think we need to share this message with as many people that need it. I know that's what you all are hoping for. I hope you have a great week coming up, and I'll see you all next time.